even though the dwarves basically sacrificed their lives to try and save Snow White from the evil queen, and like they climbed that mountain and they could have like fallen and slipped and cracked their head open and like they did all this heroic stuff. They're totally the heroes in the situation.
That's true.
But who ended up with Snow White?
The prince.
Did nothing. Who decided to come in the end and whisk her away to this castle in the sky, and then like she was just like, deuces, dwarf.
You know, that's interesting that the castle is up in the air. It's up in the clouds. That's something that's really like, is that where they're gonna stay, or is it something else?
Or they're dead.
You know what? We're not gonna put this on the clip.
Yeah, let's say I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah. No, that's
That just got a little too morbid.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, we'll just. Hey, welcome everybody. This is NerdBasics presents PandaMouse, the very first episode. I am your host, Simon Yu, here in Hayward, California, and above me is the second not so important host.
Whoa.
What's your name?
I am Grace Yu, and I'm in Buena Park, California.
And for those who don't know where Buena Park or Hayward is, Buena Park is where, Grace? Down south, like near Anaheim, right?
California, near Anaheim, California, home of Disneyland.
And I'm up here in Northern California. But anyways, so we're doing this episode, we're making this show, and we called it PandaMouse. Grace, why did we call it PandaMouse?
I mean, aside from the fact that pandas are awesome, we called it PandaMouse because we're going to be talking about all good things that are Disney.
Exactly. So, for some who believe that the panda is an awesome animal, that's why we called it that. And then the mouse because.
All.
What?
All that pandas are awesome.
Say that again?
All.
No, not all. Not all. That's logically impossible.
To be more supportive of the fact that pandas are awesome, just because I feel like it's just going to be a more productive work environment if we just admit that pandas are awesome.
So, what we're doing is we're going to do review of anything Disney, but especially the movies. And we thought, what a great idea to start off our very first episode by reviewing the very first animated film that Disney ever made. And I think it was in 1937 that they made this film, and it is dun 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 dun, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And so, do you know anything else about Snow White? Like, where was it premiered?
The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered at the Carthay Circle Theater, and opening weekend grossed like $8 million or something.
Wow.
Really crazy.
Yeah.
Like, at time standards, so like 1930s. I feel like it's
that's like $1 gazillion today. This is actually what made Walt Disney's big break, you know, and this is the beginning of the animation studio and the beginning of everything, if you will, of what Walt Disney did in his legacy. But so why don't we talk about it? Grace, how did you approach watching this movie, or what do you want to talk about?
I wanted to rewatch it just because I wanted to see if it was a different experience from when I watched it as a child, and I realized very, very quickly that it's extremely disturbing.
How so?
Well, there are just a lot of things, like very much false advertising. For example, if I was ever lost in a forest, I would presume, based on this film, that woodland creatures would come and help me. I also ascertained that if I came across a cottage in said forest and it was really, really messy, that said aforementioned woodland creatures would help me clean it. So at this point, I just feel like it's fraudulent.
Yeah, I thought that was actually really interesting. It goes to show you kind of like the sheltered, privileged lifestyle that Snow White had, even though Even though she's like a scullery maid, that's what they call her in the beginning, right? So yeah.
Like totally full on knocked on the door and nobody answered, and you think something indicate that you just wouldn't go into the house, but no, she went into the house anyways,
Right.
and she's like, nobody's here, okay, and then she just made herself at home in a strange person's house.
Right. She made a lot of presumptions. It's like, oh, kids live here without the mom,
Yeah.
so I feel obligated to save them.
I actually don't think Snow White's very bright.
You don't think so?
No, because why would children live all by themselves? Like all the beds were small, and then there were no adults. That makes absolutely no sense. If like that would just be anarchy if you really think about it.
You know, it was back in the medieval ages, from what it looks like. Maybe the dawning of the Renaissance. Uh, it was a different, harsher time then. Kids weren't kids. They had to grow up quickly.
This is escalating to a very dark assessment.
Whatever you think about this movie still has one of the best animation ever made, even when it was drawn 1937. As I recall, one of the ways that they made it so realistic is they actually got animals and they actually got actors and actresses wearing the costumes, and they drew the live action of these people. And so one of the beautiful things that you notice is the walking of these characters that's so fluid and so natural. Honestly, there's a lot of animation out there, and it pales in comparison to this movie. And it's a phenomenally drawn, well done movie, I would say. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say anything in relation to that. I was just gonna talk about how there were a crap ton of birds in this movie, and it made me very uncomfortable because I think birds are evil.
Yeah, that's true. There were a lot of birds.
Yeah,
There were a lot of
like
birds.
like a lot.
You
And
know, and
it's another sense of false advertising because all these birds were nice, but birds aren't nice.
you know though, she was closest to the birds, right?
Which kind of like begs to question, like,
What if she's the bad guy? Because birds are evil.
oh, so they like gravitate to like
Evil.
evil people.
Yeah. And what if the
Well, like,
witch?
she did basically break into somebody's house.
Hey, exactly.
I can't. I mean, I really can't dispute that.
Exactly. And like the witch is like trying to stop her. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and she is pretty, and a lot of like bad people are pretty.
Oh, no, no, no. See, no, you can't say that. That's not good.
But like, I feel like no, like okay, I should probably reword it. Like, people that are bad are usually very good looking because like they try to be charming, so they charm their way into situations even though they're totally evil. I don't mean to say that pretty people are evil. People
I
are
think you
really
just said that pretty people are evil.
not. That's not what I meant. I just feel like it's like it's like it's just that they're more alluring.
So all the pretty people out there, don't listen to Grace right now.
I didn't say that. Why are you spreading propaganda?
She's
Um,
anti-pretty right now.
can we talk about the Huntsman?
Sure,
Can we talk
sure.
about, yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk
let's talk about the Huntsman.
the Huntsman in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs
And I actually have a picture of him.
looks looks a little pudgy.
What's wrong with that? He's not pudgy, he's big boned. He's a true huntsman.
And he has a unibrow.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
That shows his testosterone, how much testosterone he has.
comparison to the Huntsman that we're going to see in a theater near you, Snow White and the Huntsman, I feel like these are two different people.
You mean this blonde German godlike being here?
Well, he doesn't really look blonde and
No, he doesn't. I think he dyed his hair in this color. Or maybe it's the shade. Who knows?
look, he's svelte, like he's strong. And the other Huntsman looks like he had like one too many Wiener Schnitzel, if you know what I'm saying.
No, this guy's a true hunter. Look, he has a knife by his belt. His belly is not really fully over it.
He, because all he does is eat.
Yeah,
Like,
he eats a high protein diet. Why? Because he hunts animals.
no, no. Like the huntsman needs to be in shape. And you know what? He's probably not in shape because he hasn't done a very good job hunting animals. And it's probably because he scares them all off with his unibrow.
No,
I just like it's just I don't see huntsman.
this guy,
I see disheveled.
this guy is an adequate looking huntsman.
You know what it is? I bet you he isn't a very good huntsman, and that's why he needs to like do the evil queen's bidding and kill innocent little girls.
And
And
this
then
is
chicken out,
this is
chicken out.
this is what a real huntsman looks like. This is Hollywood's huntsman. It's fake. It's different. This is Hollywood's huntsman. This is the true huntsman.
I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I don't see huntsman in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
What do you see?
I see pudgy, disheveled man with a unibrow.
No. No. Whatever.
Whatever.
One of the things that I enjoyed excuse me. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is probably the saddest scene in the movie is when all the dwarves cry. And it's just I think that's probably as a kid, that's probably the scene that I remember the most because it was so real. Like especially when Grumpy cried, I was just like, "Oh man."
Yeah, that hit the field.
Yeah, it does.
I don't remember being as affected when I was a child as much as I was as an adult because then you begin to realize that like it's a front. Grumpy is just a facade.
Yeah.
He has feelings, and then he finally like opened his heart, and then Snow White died, and then he was just the feel.
Why does he need a feel when everyone that he loves dies, you know? So he's grumpy.
Oh, so he's probably had a lot of losses.
Yeah, I think he's probably the most real character.
Really depressing. I don't like this. This was not a good first choice for a movie.
It's not
to talk about to jumpstart our PandaMouse adventure.
It's not our choice. It is what it is. It's the first episode of PandaMouse, the first movie ever Disney made. Okay. And so what else? Do you have one more thing to say about Snow White?
I have many things to say about
Well, just give me one of the best things because we got to end soon.
Talk about how the prince decided just to like make appearances when he felt like it. Like he decided to be like in the beginning of the film.
Right.
And then all stuff happened and then like the dwarves like sacrificed themselves to try
and their house.
Yeah, can we talk about that real quick? Yeah. And then like Snow White dies and they put her in her glass coffin even though like she probably would have decayed and then that would have been weird. But no, they decided to keep her above ground in her glass coffin. And then that's when the prince decides to come and it's like, oh, okay, just I'm gonna kiss her and make it all better. And then she wakes from her eternal slumber and then she's like, bye people that sacrificed their lives to try and save me. I'm gonna go marry the prince and live in my castle. Bye forever. Like, what's that all about?
I don't know. I think the prince doesn't play hard. He plays smart. No, I shouldn't say that. He doesn't work hard. He works smart. So
you know what else it's called? That's called lazy.
No, that's being smart, you know? We don't know. We have no idea.
Effort, you know, because like he probably was like, oh, you know, this chick's kind of cute, but I'm gonna explore my other options. And then like all the other people were like, yeah, I'm not really feeling them. But let's go back to that girl that would like clean up the house. Yeah, that's called laziness. Prince who has no name. Yeah.
So
that's how I.
Okay. That's fine. That's fair because he was a very minor character in it. Anyways, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the prince either. One final thing that I want to say, and it actually came from you. When the evil stepmother becomes the witch. She looks a lot like another character. And
Yeah.
who's that character?
He looks like Mr. Herbert from Family Guy.
Ba-ba-da-ba. So
See that?
I thought that was hilarious.
You are welcome, social media.
So that is it for our show, Panda Mouse, our very first episode reviewing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We really hope you liked it. If so, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and comment below. We're also open to any recommendations. Just let us know in the comment section what you want us to watch and review, and we'll get on it as soon as we can. Anything else you want to say, Grace?
Thanks for watching, all the people of the social media. We're sorry that it got a lot more depressing than it should have. It's just some observations that we made. But hopefully you'll stick around to watch more of our adventures coming soon.
That's right. And so, above all, just don't get too deep into Snow White. And it's still one of the best movies ever made. And by far one of the best animated films ever made. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed it again. I'm Simon Yu, and above me,
I'm Grace Yu.
and this is Panda Mouse, brought to you by NerdBasics. Bye-bye, everyone.